Welcome to episode 123 of the Ski Summit Homes Real Estate Show. This week, we're diving into what's a little bit of conflict in Keystone. So Keystone homeowners are calling out Vail Resorts on what they feel like is misrepresentation or not equal voting rights. So we're gonna dive into that and how things are being run there. And there's even talk of dissolving the Keystone Neighborhood Company. So we want to look at both sides of that story and look at what's happening with voter power, HOA fees, and who's really footing the bill for the resorts in Keystone. So whether you're local or full-time resident, second homeowner, or investor, this story is worth tuning into. Plus, we got your market in a minute and a great new listing in Breckenridge that I'd love to share with you. Ever dreamed of living in the heart of the Colorado mountains? Join me, Matt Dayton, Breckenridge native, Olympian, and mountain real estate expert. Here on the Ski Summit Show, we dive into everything you need to know about buying, investing, and living in iconic ski towns like Breckenridge, Frisco, and Keystone. From mountain real estate trends to investment opportunities, we bring you on the inside to help you make the most of your mountain life.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks. All right. Welcome to the Ski Summit Show, number 123. Thanks so much for joining us. This is your source for Summit County news in real estate and what's going on up here. I'm here with my producer, Benji, the Benji Does. Hey, Benji.
Howdy do. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Setting is at the Northwoods.
Northwoods? What is Northwoods?
Up in northern Minnesota.
So,
yep.
Okay.
Yep, out of the mountains and into the lake country. So nice little fireside chat for you guys here today, but a little different settings. So, man, Keystone, a little bit of upheaval in Keystone.
A little bit, just a tiny bit. Are you ready to go look at it?
Yeah, not everybody's happy.
No, not everybody's happy. Here's the first thing. We'll start with the news. Here's the website in the background, but locals are talking about dissolving the KNC for a myriad number of reasons.
Yes, they are. So, you know, and read through, so there was this email came to me through one of my clients and friends that owns in Keystone, asking me for my take on it. It was the first time I'd heard of it. So I've been reading through this, doing a little bit of research on it. And, you know, one of the biggest things that the homeowners are upset about is they feel like they're paying in the majority of the fees for Keystone. One sec. Hey, I'm doing my show down here. You girls can't be down here.
What were we gonna say?
Okay, not right now. Sorry, we're gonna have
You're
to start
okay.
over there.
Just pick up where you were. We're okay.
All right. So Keystone homeowners are not too happy about what's going on, at least some of them. This isn't everybody. And so I recently got this email from a client and friend of mine that had this link to this dissolved Keystone Neighborhood Company. And their point is that they're not getting equal representation for cost of what they're putting in. So Vail Resorts owns the majority of the voting right power in Keystone. And according to this document, it's impossible for the Keystone neighborhood owners to get fair voting rights with the amount of money that they put in and their ownership because of a parcel that Keystone neighborhood owns. So if you look at, scroll on down, it'll show us, go to the larger document there. There you go, yeah.
This one here?
Scrolling. Keep going down. Nope, keep going. There you go. So this is the Beaver Pond.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, so that's the property that Keystone owns.
This yellow
and
thing.
this is this parcel basically is what this document says that they get their majority voting rights from. Their argument is that this is an undevelopable parcel and it gives Keystone an unfair voting right, even though the neighborhoods or the homeowners are putting in the majority of the money into the KNC and that they make up the majority of the people. So they get the homeowners get 1,165 votes, and KNC or Vail Resorts gets 1,248 votes. KNC homeowners paid in $2.2 million in 2024, and Vail Resorts paid about $170,000 in assessments in 2024. So they believe that Colorado is being sidestepped by charging residents for upgrades to private or even government-owned land. So they think that there's no accountability. Vail controls decisions without living there or sharing the financial burden fairly. So they're asking people to join the fight. to sign a petition and to give money to go ahead and fight to dissolve the Keystone Neighborhood Company. So that's one side of the story.
Yeah.
We got the other side. So kind of Benji and I looked a little bit at what the arguments could be from Vail Resorts standpoint. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't have any documentation from it.
Just speculation. What they could say.
Just speculation. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they did set up this in the way that they would have that, and people signed into that. So when you bought property, that's kind of what you were signing into. But the foundational stakeholders, one thing, Benji, that this document about dissolving the KNC stated was that Vail Resorts is just renting property.
Right.
So, but I would definitely look at it from their standpoint. They actually have a 40-year renewable permit with the Forest Service. That can be sold to another entity, transferred, but there's a ton that's been invested in that infrastructure to make the resort, which is why people come there. So I would imagine from their standpoint, they're like, well, if it wasn't for us, your property values really wouldn't be much, and there really wouldn't be much reason for people to come. So I think that certainly is a viable argument that I can imagine that they would have. But ultimately, it's kind of the bigger picture, the longer term vision that Vail Resorts would have as to why this would be valid for them to have that voting power. So anyway, I can see both sides of the story. It'll be kind of interesting to see how this unfolds, and we'll definitely be following this story.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff.
It is. It's a little, still above my pay grade, but I would definitely want to learn more and keep everybody in the loop on this.
Alrighty. Well, that swings us right into our weekly segment for the market in a minute. I'm going to get my head out of the way so you guys can see all these data points.
Yes. So what we got here, market in a minute, we're looking at new listings by week. Right here, you can see where we are. 2024 was a little bit below where we are. 2023 was significantly below where we are for this past week. Overall, though, you look at these trend lines, you can see the dark black one there. Starting about week 42, we had a lot more listings coming on than the past 2 years, and there's significantly more here in week 24 and 25. And then if we skip down to the pendings, starting to see a little bit of a spike here these last few weeks. So that's encouraging to see. More things going under contract. Overall, though, it hasn't really put a big dent in our inventory. So that means that we still have a lot of things to choose from. But it also is, it's not showing that, hey, that we got something to be worried about. We got all these listings, nothing selling, although sometimes some sources might portray that that's the case. We're still in a decent market. It's slower, but it's not. I don't see any cause for alarm at this point. So good news is, if you're selling, if you really put your best foot forward with your property, price it appropriately. You might have to get a little bit more aggressive than we have in years past, but you still have decent demand. And if you're a buyer, you got a lot more to choose from. So definitely, it's worth buying right now. Rates, the Fed's going to hold the interest rates steady right now, is the news. But as they say, you marry the property, you date the rates. So there's, more than likely going to be opportunities to refinance down the road, as long as you don't get yourself in a situation right now where it's unaffordable. Then there's going to be a good opportunity. And when rates go down, demand is going to go up, because there are people that want to buy that aren't buying right now because the rates are where they are. So I think it's a good time to buy. Buy.
A good time. Well, that was a good segment. Let's switch over to our listing of the week. This week we are focusing on 121 Shekel Lane. Where is that?
Yes.
In Breckenridge, Colorado.
Silver Shekel house. Yes, this is a gorgeous house. As you can see, it's got really nice views across the valley there. Looking at those, listed for $2,395,000. You come in to the house and you got kind of a main floor living area, kitchen right there, lots of wood, gorgeous wood floors.
Wood, look at that.
Yeah, big vaulted ceilings, and then that opens out to that deck with the view. So, and then you go downstairs into the lower level walkout area. Plenty of bedrooms down there, plenty of space. You even got a little kind of quasi apartment there. This property has got a ton of space.
Look at the tile in that shower.
Yeah, it's a really good looking place. Big tall ceilings down in the lower level.
Look at that. There's that apartment. That's so cool.
Kind of like a little, yeah, like a little studio, art studio if you wanted to make it that. Cool little flexible space in there.
I like
Yeah,
this.
this little patio out there.
5
So, yeah,
bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 3,500 square feet. Look at that.
it's a big property, and so just north of Breckenridge is where this one is. Shekel Neighborhood. Right in that area, you got a golf course right nearby. You can see that. You've got great trails. I like the access to the mountain bike trails that you got. Quiet neighborhood.
Right off the road.
Yep, faces out towards the west, so you got really good
view.
afternoon sun. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous setting. It's kind of a long-standing Breckenridge neighborhood too.
That's cool.
A lot of locals there. Yeah, good property.
Well, that's all I've got for today's show.
All right, well that wraps up our Ski Summit Homes real estate show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions on the market, please feel free to reach out. Curious your thoughts on the dissolved KNC neighborhood effort. I'd love to hear from you on that and learn more if you have anything to share. So until next time, hope to see you in the mountains soon. Take care.